Hello everyone, welcome to Topper IAS. So as part of our daily series, today also we will look into few of the news taken from Hindu as well as PIB. Okay, so let's get started. So the first one is with respect to a speedy trial, a fundamental right. So this was said by Bombay High Court. So why did it say? Because see, there were several people in the prisons who are under trials, meaning a trial is yet to begin, but they have been there in the prisons for a long period of time. So this is like kind of injustice to them. This is the violation of their fundamental rights, because the right to speedy trial is a fundamental rights. And actually this was earlier said by Supreme Court. If you know, in 1979 there is a case, Hussainaira Khatun versus Home Secretary State of Bihar Court, where it was said that right to speedy trial is a fundamental right, and this right is not explicitly mentioned, but it is implicit in the Article 21 of Indian Constitution, that is right to life and personal liberty. So this is what the thing is. In India, criminal cases go on for years, even for decades. So if if the person stays in the prison for 10 years, even before hearing before the judiciary, so that is a kind of injustice. It is a violation of fundamental rights, is what the issue is centering around. The next one, we have a Oxfam report, Oxfam India Inequality Report, and this report is particularly talking with respect to health area. Okay, what it says is general category is better off than SC/STs, Hindus are better off than Muslims, rich are better off than poor, men are better off than women, and urban population is better off than rural population on most of the health indicators. Okay, and this analysis was made by the report based on the surveys rounds done by National Family Health Survey and National Sample Survey. Okay, so one data it says is the share of institutional deliveries in India has increased from 38.7% in 2005-6 to 78.9% in 2015-16. But thing is, there are inequalities persisting with ST household just 15% below the general category. Okay, and Muslims are 12% behind the Hindus. Okay, and 35% of gap between the poorest and richest of the population. So this data is showing there is a inequality in the, there is disparity in the health indicator. Okay, then next one is with respect to climate change, particularly impact of climate change which is being witnessed in alpine mountains. See, Alp mountains, Switzerland, Europe. Okay, so what is said is that climate change has added over 1000 lakes in Swiss Alps. The study is saying actually the climate change has dramatically altered the Swiss Alp landscape at much quicker pace than expected. Glacier melting because of global warming, increase in temperature, right? So because of global warming, increase in temperature, glaciers have melted down, and the water is leading to the formation of thousands of lakes, is what the study is saying. And this study was published by Swiss Federal Institute of Aquatic Science and Technology. Okay, and see, the inventory of Swiss glacial lakes shows that there are almost 1200 new lakes have been formed glaciated regions of Swiss Alps, and this number has been formed since the little ice age around 1850. Okay, and this is like glaciers in the Swiss Alps are in steady decline, losing a full 2% of their volume last year alone. So in 1 year alone, 2% of volume has been lost. And what it is said is that even if the world were to fully implement 2015 Paris Agreement, two-thirds of the alpine glaciers will likely be lost. So the Paris Agreement, where there is a objective to limit the rise in global temperature to 2 degrees Celsius since industrial levels. Okay, even if the world achieves this, till then you will be losing, despite of that, you will be losing two-thirds of alpine glaciers, is what the lake is saying. And presence of 1000 lakes now is an indicator of this glacier loss. Then coming to next news is with respect to Indian Institute of Heritage being set is going to be set up at Noida. Okay, so Indian Institute of Heritage will be world class university that would focus on conservation and research in India's rich tangible heritage. So it will offer research, development, dissemination of knowledge, and excellence in the education of its students activities. Okay, and this would be a standalone institution of its type in the country. So government is planning to set up a world class Indian Institute of Heritage at Noida, remember that. Then government has launched a bad bank. So the finance minister, if you remember in the budget speech, it was said that the high level provisioning by the public sector banks of the stressed assets calls for measure to clean up the bank books. So because of NPAs, so banks have to keep certain amount of money, okay, to account for this NPAs, so that we refer it as provisioning. So rising NPAs, rising provisioning by the banks, so what was necessity was this was taking away the free money, liquidity money for banks to lend and all those stuff. So it was said that high level of provisioning required it, or it called for measures to clean up the bank books. So an asset reconstruction company limited or asset management committee would be set up and to consolidate and take over the existing stress debt and then manage and dispose of this kind of things. So or whatever all the bad banks, NPAs are there with the banks, asset reconstruction company will take it over and they will be disposing it off. So that is how you will going to clean up the bank books. Okay, and the Reserve Bank of India is regulator of asset reconstruction in companies in India and has already prescribed a regulatory framework for functioning of ARCs, and there are well laid norms for transfer of stressed assets by banks and non-banking finance companies to ARCs, remember that. So what is asset reconstruction company? So asset reconstruction company is a special type of financial institution. What it does is it buys the debts of a bank at a mutually agreed value and attempts to recover the debts or associated securities by itself. So it takes up the bad loans and sells it off and try to realize the value. And asset reconstruction companies are registered under RBI and are regulated under SARFAESI Act of 2002. So SARFAESI, Securitization and Reconstruction of Financial Assets and Enforcement of Securities Interest Act 2002. So very long name, remember SARFAESI Act of 2002, which regulates the asset reconstruction companies. They take the bad assets from the bank and sell it off. So that's it for today. You can download the PDF of this document in the link that is shared below, and do download Topper Eyes Institute app so that you get access to a number of these videos which will help you in your preparation. Thank you.